What's up, Vetters? Patrick here with Vetted. Danny Sheehan came out swinging against Skywatcher. That is Jake Barber's new company that's out to prove the existence of UAP and potentially contact them. In fact, they have this particular method of, quote, dog whistling these UAP and getting them to come out. Well, Danny Sheehan, who is very well known in the UFO community, has come out saying it's, quote, unethical, and he explains why. So I've got that clip. Let's jump into that. But before we do, Vetters, please hit that like button. That really helps out the videos. And of course, hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. Put out new videos every day about the UFO phenomenon. And I'm trying to get to 100,000 before the end of the year. So let's make that happen. All right. Now, before we get to this clip with Danny Sheehan, let me explain a little bit more about what Skywatcher is, just as a refresher. The Skywatcher UFO program is a private initiative led by Jake Barber, a UAP whistleblower aimed at summoning, tracking, and potentially recovering unidentified aerial phenomena, UAP, using a blend of advanced technology and unconventional methods. The program employs psionic operators, individuals purportedly capable of using psychic abilities to interface with and attract UAP, alongside a structured team with ties to intelligence and scientific expertise. In 2024, Skywatcher reportedly conducted an operation where a craft was summoned and filmed, allegedly engaging in a mid-air encounter with another UAP. The initiative has drawn attention for its ambitious goals, including peaceful communication with non-human entities, and claims backing from Silicon Valley investors interested in reverse engineering retrieved technology. Despite its high-profile approach and collaboration with figures like scientist Gary Nolan, it has sparked debate over its methods and evidence quality within the UFO research community. Now, here's that video of Danny Sheehan talking about Skywatcher and his issues with the way they summon UFOs.
Another question I need to see that, but do you feel, or yourself, do you feel the Skywatcher program is behaving ethically regarding the method they use? Another interview, you mentioned something to the effect that they were doing what they're doing, and it didn't seem like high consciousness activity to.
Yeah, I'm quite concerned about this. To the extent to which I believe that the Skywatcher people are engaged in artificially luring in some of the UFOs, that they've developed some kind of a technology that masks as a telepathic solicitation to come. Like a regular person or a group of people can reach out telepathically and solicit the UFO to come so they can have a direct contact experience with them, and that the Skywatcher people are mimicking that they've developed something they call the dog whistle that imitates a telepathic solicitation, a good faith solicitation. And then I think they're engaged in the process of, and as I understand it, they're engaged in the process of trying to forcibly force down the UFO and take it into custody so that they can, again, get their hands on the technology. And very importantly, they're funded by private investors. And private investors are always trying to figure out how to take possession of something and get patents on it. And I think that is totally unethical. And I don't think it's a legitimate undertaking. Now, if in fact the Skywatcher group is willing to have open source information about everything, to tell everybody what it is they have found, but they cannot, they should not engage in duplicitous activity toward the UFOs by pretending to be a good faith group that's soliciting their good faith contacts so that they can have citizen diplomatic communications with them, and then, arrest them, basically, force down their craft and arrest them and take them into custody or anything like that. That we've got to be extremely careful at this early stage of our interaction with the UFO people, that this is going to affect our relationship with them for the next 10,000 years. So we can't allow people to be careless and reckless like this, in deceiving them and using forcible means against them, kidnapping them, taking them into custody involuntarily and interrogating them. We've got to get that stopped. right now. And that's what the New Paradigm Institute is for, is the mobilization of the citizens ourselves to reach out and compel our Congress to act and to exercise its constitutional authority to take control over this and to have it subject to public scrutiny. Not to have it being done in secret, not to have it being done for military purposes or for intelligence gathering to try to establish superiority over other people on our planet. That's just
Okay.
unethical.
All right, so let me know what you think in the comments. Is Danny making any sense here? Is his concerns about Skywatcher valid? Do you feel that Danny went too far? Do you feel that Danny is, again, making just a good point about Skywatcher? And what would Skywatcher say in response? Well, without actually having Jake here to give his response, I did make a video not too long ago. I'll put a link in the description if you want to watch the full video. But there's one part of this interview that he did on Watch Mojo where he goes into a little more detail. And it does seem like he is concerned with some of the methods that they're taking, and they are trying to be careful. At least that's what they're claiming, right? So here's a clip, I think, that could add a little more context.
Just to follow up on the two methods, I'm curious to know how you determined that these two methods were worthy of experimenting with. Is there a history of military use of these methods? And are there any other methods that you are aware of that you haven't yet integrated into your field experiments?
Yeah, good question. So we got here because there is a history with it. So members of our team that we put together under Skywatcher, like my partner James Fowler, who's been making his way out there as of late, telling his story. He was featured in episode 2 of Skywatcher, and he's out there doing podcasts now. James is the engineer of our dog whistle system that was originally, it's where our name Skywatcher comes from. It's a Skywatcher system that he put together in his past life, if you will, and has been deploying the dog whistle system, which we did call Skywatcher, and has been conducting operations for a number of entities in the government and outside of the government for years now. It's been a system that's been developed, I would say, mostly over the last 6 years, and has proven itself to be unique in the form that nobody else seems to be able to mimic its results, let alone the method. And I do have to say, like, we do keep the dog whistle configuration and how we do it. We keep that pretty close to our chest, and that's not because we're being unreasonably secretive. It's our secret sauce, and it's something we're very proud of, and a lot of time and energy has been invested in developing that system. And we aren't sure exactly how serious the implications are of running this equipment. So I think there's as much responsibility in keeping this private and trying to get as many government agencies involved who have the responsibility when it comes to national defense and also air domain awareness. And so we're trying to work with them to make sure that, because there's a Pandora's box here that could be opened. And if we aren't prepared to deal with that, that could pose a number of problems.
All right, betters, let me know what you think in the comments. We'll see you on the next one. Remember, every day's a gift, y'all. Peace.